Good afternoon, 8th graders. I wanted to show you your steps for today since I'm going to be gone from class. This is what your locker organizer should basically look like when you're done stitching today. Okay, so you can see I have some pins in there and the top one isn't actually sewn down, but this is how it should look as far as how the pockets are laying. Okay, so if you take a look here at the bottom of each of these pockets, you'll notice you don't see any rough edges or raw edges, okay? So in order to get your pockets to look like that when you're done, you'll need to start with your pockets upside down, okay? You can see this pocket has been pinned. There's 5 pins, one at the beginning, one at the end, one in the middle, and one in between each of those spaces. As you're pinning your center and your upper pockets into place, I wanted to show you where to line them up at. Okay, you'll notice if you look right along the edge here, you'll see my dotted line. Okay, there's my dotted line. All right, so that is where you line the bottom of your pocket up at the bottom of the dotted line. So then once I've sewn, it'll be a little bit of ways from the dotted line. Okay. So when I flip this up like this, you won't see that dotted line anymore because it'll fold up to where your stitching line was. Okay, and it'll pull tight, even pulled tight, you won't see that dotted line. Okay, so the whole point is to cover up our rough edges here and our dotted line there with our work today. So we always sew on the right side, so I'm going to turn and take a look right here. I see my pins are on my right side. I will follow my presser foot right along the edge of this fabric right here, and my stitches will show up just a little bit of ways from that. You can see I've put arrows on my project. You won't be putting those arrows on your project. Those are there for your reference when you begin to sew tomorrow, or today actually. You'll backstitch here, going that direction. Once you've done that, your next step will be to take out those pins. Obviously those will be out. You will flip this up towards the top, okay, and then you will press this down like that, okay? So it'll be pressed, it'll be nice and flat, and it'll look nice and flat like this one at the center, okay? The next thing you'll do is to put pins in along the side, right here, right here, right here to hold it in place, right here, and right here to hold it in place. You can see I have already put my pins in on this one. You're going to do each of these pockets exactly the same way. Okay, so one there, one there, one there. And then you will sew in the direction of the arrows. Okay, so here I'm going to start. I'm going to backstitch following the right side. I'll turn this for you guys. Pretend this is going straight into my sewing machine. I'm going to follow the right side of my fabric with my presser foot, and my stitching line, as you can see, is right close to the edge. Okay? As I get close to each pin, I will pull that out. So backstitch here, get to the bottom, backstitch there. Okay? Then you'll do the same thing on this side, except you'll have to turn your locker organizer, backstitch, follow the edge of your presser foot, backstitch. Okay? Then the last thing you'll have to do if you're working on your center pocket, or if you divided any of your other pockets, you will need to sew through the center along that line. Okay? So I've marked the line. You want to make sure, notice my arrows are going from the bottom of the pocket to the top of the pocket. That's done purposefully. If I sew this way, I'm going to go in the center right here. If I sew this way, look what happens as I start pushing. It's going to bubble up my fabric, and we don't want that to happen. So if you start at the bottom and go this way, it won't bubble up your fabric. It'll just stay nice and flat, and you won't have any bubbles at the bottom. Okay? The last step you'll need to do today is to pin your Velcro hooks, okay, into their spot. This is on your front piece where you have all the dotted lines. That's where you're going to put your Velcro. before you can sew around your hook tape, you need to make sure you have pins in it so it stays in place. So I just wanted to show you quickly how those pins will be placed before you start sewing. Make sure you go in this direction, right to left and right to left on the bottom. They are tough to get in, okay? So be patient with them and be careful as you're pushing those through so that you don't accidentally catch your finger, okay? But the Velcro hook tape and the loop tape as well are pretty tough stuff, so you're going to have to focus hard and make sure you're pushing straight so you don't bend the pins, okay? So you'll have these in, and when I start here, as soon as my presser foot's down and I can hand wheel my needle down, then I'll pull out this first pin right away. So I'll go forward, back stitch forward, get to the pivot point. This one will already be gone. Then as I get close here, I can take out this pin, get to the corner, pivot, and continue on with my sewing, okay? So I just wanted to show you guys that quick as an intermission to the video. And you can see here that I've started sewing right here. I went this direction, I pivoted, I went this direction, I pivoted, I went this direction, I pivoted, straight up, pivot, and then I'm going to make an X, cross through here, pivot, go back over that same line you already sewed, and then pivot, and finally go straight up to the top and back stitch. Okay, so there will be a back stitch here going this direction and a back stitch here going this direction. Every other spot on here is a pivot point. And you can see my arrows in there to help you out. Those will be there tomorrow as well. Okay. Also, you can see those same directions on the side board, the white board up over here. Okay, you can see my Velcro and my instructions there. Okay, taking a look back at here just to recap what you need to get done today. You will sew across the bottom of this pocket as well as your center pocket. This one will be pinned in the same way. Okay, sew across it, take out those pins, flip it up, iron or press, but we're actually ironing because we want to push this up towards the top. Then we'll pin, 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 and then we will sew on that side and sew up through the center. Okay, and we'll do that on both your pockets. Once those are done, you'll move over to your Velcro, sew all the way around the edges, make an X overlapping on the bottom, and back stitch. All right, that's your steps for today. Good luck, have fun, and listen carefully to those around you that are willing to help.